Listen, viewers at home, what we are experiencing with the rapid development of AI technology is truly unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened in the history of the human race. I mean, we've had similar rapid developments with the internet and computer technology, but this is a pace that we have not seen before. Every week, it's like revolutionary papers, revolutionary announcements. The ever acceleratory curve of AI development is just truly something to behold. I would say the amount of AI news that came out this week was medium in comparison to what we've had going on. And in any other industry, this would be an explosive news week. Anyways, we got a lot to dive into, so let's get right into it. Viewers, Twitter is becoming one of the most used news sources for myself in terms of AI, so make sure you follow me on Twitter because I always repost a lot of the cool stuff I find. And whenever you watch one of these news videos and you see these Twitter profiles, they're probably worth a follow. At any rate, we're opening up nice and light here. This is not in English. ChatGPT, help me out. Alright, so our caption for this video is an autonomous flying drone that flies through the forest canopy while avoiding collisions and maps the jungle. And yeah, viewers, that's about the size of it for this one. As we take a look at this video, you can see that the drone has some sensors on it and it's able to use AI to detect the trees and where they are. Essentially, it is a neural network that is meant to avoid collisions for this flying drone. It's really incredible the way it's actually able to navigate all of these obstacles. And you can see there is the raw depth, the reconstructed depth, and it's essentially just learning where all these trees are in real time, and it knows how to dodge and fly and avoid them. It's a little scary because once you start to attach weapons to these drones, they become very, very dangerous. This is tough territory to navigate. Something to keep in mind. And as Nvidia announced their earnings yesterday, their stock market shot up. They added a casual 150 billion in a day on AI chip demand, even as most enterprises just have started to put in their orders. We're still early on this. That is how big this AI thing is. Nvidia is able to use their graphics cards to power AI, and it is just going to make Nvidia incredibly wealthy. Some people have even said Nvidia could become one of the most wealthy companies in the world in the future due to the demand of AI power. And of course, the person actually making this tweet is Emad, or the CEO of Stability AI, most famously known for creating Stable Diffusion. Emad is someone who actually owns quite a few Nvidia GPUs himself, so he is no stranger in terms of how valuable and useful they are going to be in the future. For those of you that actually want to see what that spike looked like, check that out. They went from a valuation of about 300 bucks to a valuation of almost 400. That is a massive gain, and it's still going up a little bit there. This is ridiculous. But yeah, the hype for AI is much, much more real than it has ever been before. Moving into some chatbot related news, Guanaco, which is a chatbot that runs on a single GPU, in comparison, something like GPT-4, it powers ChatGPT, runs on multiple expensive GPUs at once. But Guanaco here was able to achieve 99% ChatGPT performance on the Vicuna benchmark on just a single GPU, which means these things are getting more efficient. You can run this thing for about $2.40 per hour, which is a lot cheaper than GPT-4 or even GPT 3.5. But yeah, we've got a simple little video here showing it running on that single GPU and answering questions quite well, performing very, very much adequately on this benchmark. It is performing logic problems, explaining the difference between an exothermic and endothermic reaction, and again, it's all running on a single Nvidia H100. In other chatbot news, just 3 months after the Llama release, open source gets a smaller 40 billion large language model that surpasses the largest 65 billion Llama variant. So if you think that open source models are done improving, well, you should really adjust your timeline because, man, these things are improving at a rapid rate. So again, guys, a smaller model, which has less parameters, is beating out a larger model here in just 3 months of development. This, again, is one of the reasons that Google seems to be so scared and terrified of open source AI technology. They know that really good open source development is happening fast. faster than even Google seems to be able to keep up. I just did an entire video on the Microsoft Build event and all of the announcements that happened, but we'll do a very quick recap on this. Essentially, the big idea here is that Bing Chat or ChatGPT, it's all based off of OpenAI's GPT-4 tech. It's getting integrated directly into your Microsoft Windows 11. So you'll be able to have it search files for you. It's going to help you install different apps and essentially be your AI assistant for Windows. They're calling it Copilot as well. Again, I literally just went through all of this yesterday, but you can see it's just integrated on the side of Windows. You can ask it specific questions like, how can I adjust my system to get more work done? And it will go through, give you some options, and you can literally just click to turn on the features that it mentions, and it goes ahead and adjusts your whole system to get more work done. It's able to summarize different things. You're actually able to drop PDFs inside of it too, so they're adding some more multimodal capabilities to this Windows Copilot, which is awesome to see. It's able to play different Spotify and connect with different apps via plugins, very similar to Bing Chat, ChatGPT, and Bard. All these chat models are now getting plugins to work with different apps and businesses. And, that's great and all, but some people are actually showing some concern for this, stating, my PC is a very personal thing, and now this chatbot is going to be having access to all of it. Do we trust Microsoft with all of that data? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. As cool as I think it would be to have this little AI assistant on your side to help you at all times, it is all being controlled by Microsoft at the end of the day. And do we want them to control that? And also, how is this going to affect the performance of my computer? Because some people like their systems to be lean, mean, and fast for things like video gaming or productivity. We've got a nice list here of all the different plugins that are going to be coming to this: Spotify, Wolfram Alpha, TripAdvisor. It's all of the basic bunch that we saw for ChatGPT, Bing Chat, etc. And they've also got this thing working with developers where you can essentially clone and install GitHub repos directly in your computer, making it super easy. You can just literally click the setup button and the chatbot just does it all for you, sets everything up, gets all of the requirements that are necessary. So this is, I think, going to help people get into coding a little bit more, because it's a lot easier to learn to install all this stuff when a chatbot just does it for you. And they also show off the feature when your code isn't working right, you can actually ask the chatbot for some help, and it's going to be able to help you fix up your code and teach you what's wrong with it. Oh yes, folks, and don't forget that the original OEM ChatGPT browsing that came out when OpenAI launched both plugins and browsing to all ChatGPT Plus users, it was so bad that they just resorted to using the built-in Bing chatbot browsing, which works a lot better. And finally, this one's probably the most insane one. This is Microsoft Fabric, which is just absolutely ridiculous. This is essentially like a data analysis analytics tool that is going to track data across your business, and it integrates with Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Docs, the whole thing. It can essentially do statistics for you. It can do analytics research for you. It's shaping up to be a really powerful tool. It's all chatbot integrated with Microsoft 365 suite. It's ridiculous. I mean, the AI is truly being added to everything at this point. Again, if you want me to go a little bit more in depth in this, I suggest you check out yesterday's video. Well, this is Control-a-Video, controllable text-to-video generation with diffusion models. This paper presents a controllable text-to-video diffusion model named Video ControlNet that generates videos conditioned on a sequence of control signals such as edge or depth maps. Video ControlNet is built on a pre-trained conditional text-to-image diffusion model by incorporating a spatial temporal self-attention mechanism and trainable temporal layers for efficient cross-frame modeling. Wow, that is a mouthful of technical terms. The big idea here is that by analyzing, we can take a look at our video, recognize the depth from it, and make changes based on that depth information. In very simple layman's terms, OpenAI has been incredibly concerned with the governance of superintelligence as of late. In fact, they say that it's conceivable within the next 10 years, AI systems will exceed expert-level skill in most domains. Everything, all of the domains, your doctors, your lawyers, your mechanics, everything. So obviously technology like this, they say, needs to be governed, and it's something we need to be thinking about. They did a whole blog post on it. Now is a good time to start thinking about the governance of superintelligence. Future AI systems dramatically more capable than even AGI. Thank you, OpenAI, for that rather scary thought, but you know what? I think they are right. We do need to be concerned about these things because while there are a lot of optimists and people who don't trust Microsoft or don't trust Google or don't trust OpenAI because they're these big companies, we can't just rely on these natural things. We can't make that bet. It's not safe enough in my personal opinion. We do need to worry about these things, and we do need to worry about how powerful they are going to be and the damage that a bad actor could potentially cause. Viewers, if you want to know my personal thought on this, these super intelligences will be very capable of governing themselves. My biggest fear is just a bad actor manipulating them in some horrible way. If we can think of intelligence as truth, and if we think of truth in quotations as the end all be all, well, in this circumstance, the more intelligent the AI is, the less it's going to make irrational decisions. Anyways, OpenAI is actually really putting their money where their mouth is. They're launching 10 $100,000 grants, so that's $1 million for building prototypes of a democratic process for steering AI. Their goal is to fund experimentation with methods for gathering nuanced feedback from everyone on how AI should behave. And I mean, guys, if you got these prototypes on lock, maybe you should go ahead and apply for this $100,000 grant. So yeah, they're willing to pay for this to be developed. Honestly, when you think about it, $100,000 really isn't too much, but I guess these would be very small teams that are using it. Mr. Musk down here seems to think that control definitely matters when it comes to the governance of superintelligence. I know he is a very controversial figure, but on this front, I'm definitely going to have to agree that I think controllability in terms of AI does matter, because at the moment, at our current pace, it does seem like these things are becoming more and more autonomous. You have to put less and less work in for it to complete a certain task. Moving on to what is just simply mind-blowing. This is quite literally mind-reading with AI. I mean, where are we at right now, guys? Are we living in a science fiction movie? Anyways, Dan Barrage is lost for words here. Participants viewed the video on the left while an fMRI scanned them. Scanned their brain, that is. The video that is on the right is the output after using Stable Diffusion and a process to reconstruct the video from their fMRI readings. In other words, the brain has been decoded. I wouldn't say that. I mean, that's maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. Some part of our visual cortex has been decoded, and AI is trying to fill in the gaps. But I won't lie, guys. This is pretty frickin' ridiculous. Again, we have our ground truth videos. This is what the participants viewed, and then this is the reconstructed videos based off of fMRI scanning their brain, and then Stable Diffusion going, what does that scan say? Oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. So check this out. Go ahead and watch that. I mean, it's quite similar, honestly. So you have the horses here. Again, it is the same exact animal on both sides there. Both underwater scenes here, although we got fish from Stable Diffusion. People walking on a pathway in the woods, very similar. Someone talking on the left-hand side of the screen, very, very much similar. Again, this is actually both fish recreated on each side accurately. Again, more underwater scenes. This time the jellyfish got turned into a fish. People walking down the side of the street there, very accurate. This one is a car driving down the road, first person, pretty accurate. I mean, what else is there to say? The accuracy of this is probably, what would we say, 50 to 60%? It got the majority of the important context there. This is probably one of the more impressive ones to me. It got the actual subject correctly on both sides. It got the location fairly similar as well. Again, the people walking down the bustling area, pretty accurate. The context of the situations is really the most important part here, and it seems to have got the context pretty much right every single time. And for our final results here, the AI model's recreated images match the original's color, shape, and semantic meaning around 84% of the time, demonstrating impressive accuracy. Yeah, just the AI can just read your mind now. That's fine. That's okay. However, the model does need 20 hours to train itself on a particular individual's brain. Everyone's brain is different, so it's got to train itself for your specific brain. In other news here, JP Morgan is developing a ChatGPT-like AI service that gives investment advice. This is not the first time people have tried to use AI for investing. If you guys remember, I think it was last week, we saw that ChatGPT was able to develop a simulated 500% return on the stock market. However, that was only one example over several failed attempts. But it is feasible to say that AI could be doing some pretty good investing in the future. But think about this, folks. If AI got so good at investing, I mean, wouldn't you say that it's possible that investing wouldn't really be a risk anymore? I mean, that's like the whole point of investment. That's where the value comes from, is that it's a risk, it's a gamble. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. Anyways, ChatGPT got a little update here with shared links. You can actually now share your favorite ChatGPT conversations with anybody else inside of ChatGPT and literally just pick up where they left off in the conversation. This is pretty cool. Examples of this are being slowly rolled out to ChatGPT users, but it actually makes a lot of sense as to why you would want to do this. You want to be able to share your different ChatGPT chats. This would be a really great way to create prompts that people can easily click in from a website and say, oh, you want to try this prompt out? Here is the ChatGPT chat for that, and it opens right into your ChatGPT. Pretty cool stuff. This one I actually saw several different posts on my Twitter feed about, so I thought I would include it. So Voyager here, which is an open-ended embodied agent, of course based on large language models, presents itself as the first large language model powered embodied lifelong learning agent in Minecraft, which is a game that obviously is challenging for AI in many different ways. First of all, every Minecraft world is completely randomly generated, so it has to navigate every world in a different way. There's different materials and layers to the game for crafting systems and exploration. Essentially, it's an advanced game that is ever changing, and it requires a lot of skill to get very good at it. Anyways, it's able to continuously explore the world, acquire diverse skills, and make novel discoveries without any human intervention. As you can see in the examples that it showed off here, it was able to figure out how to mine amethyst, gather cacti, fight an enderman here, and finally it was able to end up building a cool looking little house, but it needed human feedback to accomplish that. Anyways, this is pretty impressive. It's a novel task to accomplish. The coolest part to me is that it's actually all based off of just a large language model. Nothing too fancy going on in terms of the AI itself. I made an entire video about this one. I was incredibly impressed with this, viewers. Adobe released a brand new AI feature inside of Photoshop. As Barcy says, it makes Photoshop do magical things in seconds. Here are 10 incredible use cases that are game changers for creators. Again, I did a whole video covering this. I'm actually going to do a follow-up video that's getting posted next week. You viewers should check that one out because it was a lot of fun. It's a really fantastic tool. It's the best in-painting and out-painting we have seen so far. I know your stable diffusion stuff you run at home is very, very good, but man, I have not seen in-painting and out-painting that is this good. It is important, though, that we do mention that this new Photoshop generative fill is not without flaws. It is extremely sensitive to what you type into it and what it's trying to generate. It constantly thinks that you're trying to generate inappropriate things. I mean, you can't even generate like a mushroom cloud explosion or anything like that. It's extremely cut back in that regard, and that's something that Photoshop is going to have to allow us to do. We have to be able to create things that are a little bit more inappropriate sometimes. We're creatives, after all, that are using this software. We want to create creative things, and we don't like being limited. And I will say that open source technology will beat out AI generative fill from Photoshop if they don't allow us to do stuff like that. Anyways, we got some examples here. As stated earlier, you can just type in a simple prompt and you fill in the bottom section of an expanded image. I mean, this is just basic outpainting here, but it is so good at it. I mean, most of the time, it flawlessly replicates what the additional portions of the image are supposed to look like. And you can even add silly stuff like unicorn horns onto a horse. Here's an example using it to create thumbnails, specifically editing a Mr. Beast thumbnail. He adds a whole steak onto the plate, and then he adds a golden fork. And this was the most impressive part of this one, as the glass of water that actually reflects his hand accurately. Again, viewers, these are two separate Midjourney generations, and then you generative fill the middle, and it figures out how to make them combine together in a realistic way, and you can make the whole scene larger and larger. You can see there's tons of examples of this. really awesome stuff. But yeah, this just shaves hours and hours off of your Photoshop time essentially, and it is way, way easier to use and learn Photoshop. It's something that I might actually have to start paying for, viewers, I'm not gonna lie. You can see a direct comparison with their original content aware fill. So this is content aware fill doing its best to fill in this image, which is pretty complex, but generative fill just completely goes after it and makes a perfect image, deleting everything. So yeah, viewers, it is just fantastic technology. I was mind blown by the amount of stuff that I could do with the in-painting and out-painting, even though it still is fairly restricted. I thought that this was so darn cool. At Zebra AI here on Twitter is a fantastic fluid simulation in AR or augmented reality. This is going to blow your mind. It has realistic volumetric flow simulation that runs on your mobile device, your iPhone. It is so awesome to look at. I mean, just picture wearing some AR glasses and being able to have fluid simulation interact with the objects in your house. I think this stuff is so cool. So as you guys can see, he places the car in there, the little toy car, and then it actually adds realistic fluid simulation on top of that in real time through augmented reality and simulation. But guys, I just thought that this was so cool, I had to include it. He's got like these little Lego cars, and it literally knows what those Lego cars are supposed to look like, and it's doing fluid dynamic simulation right on those objects that are actually real and exist in the real world. It's so cool. You can move it in and out of the flow range there, and it's just like this little AR card that you place on your table. So phenomenal. This stuff makes me so happy. But yeah, he just sort of tests it all out with all these different Lego cars. And finally, moving into our last piece of news, Google is starting to open up their access to Search Labs. You'll be able to try early generative AI experiments from Google. All you have to do is opt in by tapping the labs icon down here. You just click this link and just say, sign me up on my email. I'm already signed up. Obviously, if anything cool comes around, I will be showing you guys on this channel. So get subscribed if you're interested in that. Obviously, Google wants to stay ahead or try to dominate this AI race, but I think there's a lot of competitors here, and there's a lot of room for error with Google. Well, viewers, that was today's AI news. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. Check out my Discord where you can see this news happen in real time and discuss with the rest of the community about it. AI is, as I always say, terrifying and exciting at the same time. Rapid development of insane projects. We got freaking mind reading for God's sake. I mean, it's science fiction happening before our eyes. Nah, I don't know what else to say. It's hard to keep up with this stuff, but that's why you guys watch channels such as mine to stay up to date as close as you can. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.